Hi, John at Jersey Tactical, and we're doing a multi-part video on domestic terrorism active shooter, specifically in regards to chaining doors, whether it's on the inside or the outside, to delay a response or choke points or all these different things that we've been covering. So it's going to be a multi-part video that we've been putting together over a few months. For reference today, we're going to use the Archangel after action report from probably the most famous incident where chains were used, which would be Virginia Tech, that tragedy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we'll reference page 40. And in page 40, quick review on the attack at Norris Halls was that he had done some recon on the hall itself, right? He selected the old building on the campus because it had just a few escape routes. He could chain the doors on the exits to the building and quickly trap the people inside. He knows the second floor of the building is filled with students in their classes. He also knows that classrooms' doors have no locks. The occupants will be defenseless. In addition, the building was one of the few remaining campus buildings that had the old style swing bar doors that made it easy to chain rather than the new solid push bars found in most buildings today. So you've heard us talk about that in the past. Next page would be page 63. You saw us highlight some different things there. Again, we're just going to paraphrase this. You can do your own research. But again, section 2 of page 63, breaching Norris Hall. And that basically covers where they tried to open some of these doors with double lock buck, but they were chained to the inside and they couldn't. So they were shooting and trying to defeat these chain doors and they couldn't. Eventually what occurs is there was a machine shop in the lower part of this huge Norris Hall, and they found a wooden door that actually had a single deadbolt, so they used a 12-gauge slug eventually, which allowed them to get in. So they were never really able to defeat those chains that were on the inside of the door using a shotgun. What they were using was a slug. Eventually they did use the shotguns on the inside to open those doors to evacuate people and mass exit and egress for rescue missions. Again, just a quick paraphrase, this is hundreds of pages long. The next thing that we're going to cover is page 82, and again a quick highlight of page 82 at the bottom, and that is going to go ahead and just be the after action. And in the after action, they basically obviously go over multiple things, and one of the specific things is additionally adding breaching tools to patrol's capacity to that response to an emergency. So again, one of the things that we wanted to cover while we're doing this video is chains that would be either on the outside of the building or on the inside of the building, because it could be either way, right? As we saw in Virginia Tech or other instances, and how we can go ahead and defeat that. Remember, right, if you can't get in, you can't save anyone, but if you can't get anyone out, you can't save anyone as well. So more information to follow on our YouTube channel. All right, so morning, we're at Austin ISD. Uncle Nick's around the corner. He's doing a demonstration on chains and padlocks on the school doors. We're at a real school, like I was telling you guys. It's gonna be an awesome venue. So he's doing the instruction. We've got a bunch of our ISD officers. They're gonna learn. So what does it mean if there's chains on a building, right, on the door, right? We're just covering this with the officers, and they're going live right off the bat, right? We just did a warm-up. So it means basically two things. It means, hey, there's possibly a second or third actor, especially if the killing is going on inside. So if the killing is going on inside and the doors are chained on the outside and locked on the outside, right? How did the guy get inside? Well, somebody must have chained it for him while the attack is going on the inside. Makes sense? Also, I could also say, second thing would be he chained as many doors, or they chained as many doors as they could, and then went where? Second access point, right? So good information for everybody to have. As always, breach her up, get some.
Your guns hold. Set. Yeah. See what I mean? When you get it set up.
That's it. There you go. Great job.
Okay, excellent. So now, in essence, that's set good. If he gives it one more tap, it should just be real good. One more. So in essence, what that did, it pulled it right at the door. So if he jams it into the door and takes a lot of the pressure off, it's not going to pull it. So make sure your feet are there. You envision it's going between your feet, if anything, and give it just a feel tap, a little. One more, good. There, that should have been it, right? Did it work?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it worked, right?
That worked.
There we go. That's felt the breeze on that one.
All right, so fire code egress, not panic bars, but just push bars. Part of that you'll see sometimes is because of the glass for access and so forth. So could they still chain that? Yes, they could still chain that and deny access. You would have to take the glass, crawl through there, all these different other options. Again, some of the techniques we were talking about was when you're challenging these, as we were showing you in some of the other videos. These are just put in with basically screws. That's what's holding them in, right? So we can pop these off relatively easily most of the time. You can see they're not welded, right? So those are literally gonna be held in there. This one's actually got a little set screw right there. So they come off a lot easier than you think, right? The more you know, better off. Breacher up, get. Panic bar doors open out. Let's say the glass isn't there. Could they still get chained? We're talking about like that Virginia Tech scenario from the inside, right? And how are you going to open it from the outside? Well, we were showing that in Connecticut by using the door against themselves and so forth. And so could that happen? Yeah. Here the glass, obviously the easiest way, but you can see right here, right? A chain or a piece of cable could easily go ahead and fit down there and then go around and over here. So you can still chain that. The question is if this is glass, we could break the glass. It's still difficult because it's safety glass. If it's steel or solid, how are you going to do that? And then people are talking about what? Oh, well, go ahead and use cable cutters or, things of that nature, right? How's that going to work? You're on the outside, the doors are locked. That's where you have to use those pinch points, the claws, and then go ahead and pull these plates out, these mounting plates that are in there. You can see there's a screw right there. All right, and pull those out. More to come. Again, double panic bars, right? Space, right? You can go ahead and chain those from the inside like we were talking about. But again, what do we have? They're attached with what? Screws, right? Reach her up. So we waved a magic wand. We told them that the glass is out of play. We chained the door just like the guy's making a choke point. It's a real school, all right? And so they're going to try to basically, it'd be like, hey, if the guy's trying to trap people, do whatever you think is right, my friend. When in doubt, smash it out. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, what's the weakest point I keep telling you about? Is what? Those handles, right? Hell yes. Hell yes. This would also be like if the guy made a choke point and then all of a sudden they went ahead and they hit, they got a bunch of casualties. So they're trying to do that. Yeah, all right, there you go. You can challenge it that way if you want. All right. Get some separation. Again, one of the things we're teaching is if you put enough pressure on the doors, you can pop those handles off. Right, yeah, so now put another one up there. Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right. And there it goes. There it goes. Handle pops off. All right, run it like a claw. Just another way of doing it. Gets home. So continuing on our segments about chains and cables and misconceptions and so forth. Obviously, here's something on a fence. So the weakest link here would be obviously this cheaper lock. Even that's going to be difficult to cut, believe it or not, with a set of bolt cutters. This chain, you're probably not going to be able to cut in real life with a pair of bolt cutters. It's a hardened steel chain and it's pretty thick. Also, when you deal with a pair of cutters, which I happen to have in my hand right here, these are the ones we just bought, right? You'll see they'll go in like this, but let's say it's like a door, like on a school or a Virginia Tech situation and so forth. You gotta remember, you'd have to get separation for that door in order for these bolt cutters to even get in there. Now, if you were gonna go ahead and cut north to south, then that would work, right? If we went ahead and just opened up those cutters, yes. But what if it was somewhere where you had to spin it around? Now, all of a sudden, it's very hard to get that in there and cut something if you had to turn it sideways, depending on how that cable was or that chain. So the reason why I bring that up is this is a huge void on a fence to a tennis court. in reality, you're never going to have this much space in a door that's chained up by a lunatic, in an active shooter event, especially if they chained it on the inside, which could occur. We already showed you that in some other videos and some things. So again, using bolt cutters, is really not practical, especially when you have to cut cable. Again, so a lot of times when we're talking about these handles that are going to pop off or so forth, could you take glass out or so forth? Yeah, you could, but it just depends on if we're trying to take victims out or so forth. These are going to have those screws that we're talking about right here. That's what's holding this in. So that's what we're going to try to go ahead and take out, obviously, when we're using that prying technique or that gapping technique or so forth. If you notice, right, you'll see those on the double doors. If you go across the way, right over there, right, that's a single door that opens out right on the backside of that school. What you also see is over here in the corner, right, there's another single door. So when you have a hardened handle, which is different, right, it's usually going to be on your solid style door like this, and that's going to be mounted usually with 2 bolts like this, here and here. That's a little bit different, but again, it would be a different technique. And again, how would they chain this door, right? If you look, how are they going to chain this door? It's a single door. All right, so here's a perfect example. So that's a similar door that we were talking about. This one you could chain, because why? There's a double door, right? 2 handles, because they would obviously chain the handles here. The good thing about that is we wouldn't attack this, because that's actually put in with good bolts into a stainless steel receiver. We would simply add pressure and these handles would pop off. There's not much holding those handles in. There's everything from plastic to soft metal to et cetera, et cetera. So in that particular example, we would still have the same results. The handles would basically pop eventually with enough pressure. Going right around the corner, there's a different set of handles for us, right? And there would be where you have the hardened fixed handles with the set screws behind it that we're talking about. And that's where we would actually snap those off. Pretty much the same application, the same technique, just 2 different results on breaching it. So why would it be important to know how to open this door, right? Especially if it's chained on the outside. Again, egress, right? People are down right here, not having to take them long distance, or getting other people in, a bunch of other stuff, especially if you're on the inside of that door, right? Also, the other thing is yes, over there, we could crawl through that glass if we broke the glass out or pried it out, depending on what the glass is. But here, obviously, you can't, right? So, similar techniques, same results, 2 different types of doors.